Go, monkey, go.
Cue the monkey. Cue the monkey. Go, monkey, go.
What's up, Charlie McGrath?
Welcome to Doomcast number 76. I am Charlie McGrath, founder of WideAwakeNews.com, joined by Doug Owen, founder of BlacklistedNews.com. It was a real abrupt ending to the intro music, Doug. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If I leave it going, usually you kind of freak out about it. You're like, oh.
I like it. I just listen to it, and I don't think it's bad to have 20 seconds of cool intro music.
Neither do I.
Cue the monkey.
What the hell's up with the monkey? What are you talking about?
I don't know. We're cueing the monkey. A monkey, you know what? Monkey F is what we had last week.
Yeah.
And I got to say, out of 75 that are now in the bag, that it was our first where we did.
Wong.
Yeah.
At every level. We had horrible weeks, doomy weeks, both of us. And we decided we were going to get together on Saturday.
No, Sunday.
I know. Originally it was Saturday, and then I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
And then we kicked it to Sunday. And an hour before the program, I lost all power in my house for the second time over the weekend. And it wasn't a little blip. It wasn't like, oh, the lights went out for 30 seconds and you got to reset all your clocks, and just a pain. Right. It was 2 consecutive days of the power going out for hours and hours and hours. Like on Sunday night, I don't even know when it came back on. You and I had given up. It was probably 5 hours that it was out total. And I tell you what, Owen, that, for people who think they're all ready to go live off the grid, experience that, just experience 5-6 hours without electricity. If you're not camping at home, and you're doing your normal nightly routine, go flip the breaker off for 5 hours, and it really wakes you up to how much you rely on. I know it's an understatement and stupid to say, but obviously we rely on electricity. But it's shocking, pun intended, when you lose all power. So Sunday night, I have no electricity. I have a laptop that has the charge in the battery. I have no internet. So Doug and I try to host Doomcast via my cell phone and his computer system, Skype on my cell phone, and we start to get that hooked up. And then what happened, Doug Owen?
We were doing the sound check, and we
were doing check.
A little sound check and a little
cue the monkey.
We were doing
that. Yeah.
Do that, or a little ritual. Got the stream going. Got a few hundred people listening. Sent out a bunch of tweets and about 11,000 emails, and boom, everything froze. Everything froze on the touchscreen. And
Doug was flipping out. He was flipping out.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, this is no good. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see what we can do here. And everything froze, and we still had audio for a moment, and I did the cardinal sin, the one thing that you shouldn't do during live anything, and that is I unplugged it. I turned it off, and after about 10 seconds, it's about the norm, industry norm.
Now tell the good people, tell the good doomers out there what exactly you were turning off. I mean, it was just your computer, or was it a piece of equipment that was expensive that you were really upset at?
Yes, it is the Touch Mix. The Touch Mix 16 went out on us. So pretty expensive, fancy toy that we use to do the Doomcast, and it's something that, well, I mean, it really broke my back financially just to buy it. It's one of those things you have to have a come to Jesus moment with. And you're like, look, I'm going to use this. This thing is amazing. It's going to do so much stuff, and my
new kid's not going to get the greatest diapers because I'm buying this thing.
Nah, it's not that bad, but it's pretty bad. I mean, it's not cheap. People pay less for cars. Let me put it, used cars, not new cars. Unless if you do, that's pretty amazing. But yeah,
wait a minute. It was expensive, is what you're saying, and we appreciate all the people that have donated to help that cause.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that we've broken maybe even on some of the stuff that we've done, but you know, just the hosting fees, all those things, they kind of add up. And if you want to,
and when he says hosting fees, he's not talking about the fees that Doug and I charge to host Doomcast. He's talking about the hosting at the different platforms.
Yeah, like when we go to Davos and we speak there in front of Jamie Dimon, when we go to the Brookings Institute and meet up with Victoria Nuland and we talk about Ukrainian politics, those kind of things, you get about, 225K, somewhere in that range, depending.
Right.
Not you or I, but some people do.
Right.
But so anyway, so I tried to reboot this thing and we went through the motions and it was dead. It's just dead. And you're like, oh, wow, okay, let me see.
It was the saddest I've ever heard Doug Owen. It was the saddest I've ever heard you. So it was just.
You're trying to get a show going through your microphone on the camera in the dark with candles, trying to channel this.
Through speakerphone on my Samsung G5. I'm trying to hook up via Skype through my cell to you, and the system just melts.
It melts.
And
you're out of power. My system's melting. I'm really starting to contemplate. Okay, is this a sign from an omen? Should be. Yeah.
I'm sitting here counting off the percentage of battery I have left on my Samsung to Doug. It's not like it had enough pressure already with your expensive equipment blowing up. I'm sitting here telling you, Doug, I'm at 37%. Doug, I'm at 36%. We got to do this, and we just finally had to. We had to admit the situation, which was it wasn't happening Sunday.
No, I looked at all the wires I had. I was thinking about laptops. I'm going through this visual schematic in my mind. Yep. Okay, I can take the microphone from Skype over here and plug it in there, and then I take that, and then I do this. And I was really trying to, get that that going, but it just did not happen. We didn't have the tools, the resources. So. Luckily enough, this is a QSC product, and it's brand new. I just bought it in November, and they were really, really cool about just advanced warranty replacing the current one that we have. So rather than
when you spend $12,000 like you did,
not quite that,
they're going to take care of you.
This isn't like some people's new studios.
It's not like Gary Hendershot's studio that he
has. I don't know. I mean,
have you seen Gary's studio?
Gary's got a lot of really interesting stuff. Like he's got more video things. We don't have any video here. The video I have is my laptop and a $15 Microsoft LifeCam that will just install spam and take over your computer. And if you're not running it on Linux, and it'll eat. If you're on Ubuntu or something, maybe, but this thing will eat your lunch. It's worse than this touch mix. So anyway, they overnighted this thing to us. So Monday morning, I called them, and they're like, "Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I guess it probably happened."
Let me ask you this: Did you explain what happened to them? Mm-hmm. Maybe people don't care about this, but I kind of do because I know how stressed out my buddy Doug Owen was. Did you explain in a calm manner that their equipment just absolutely melted down? And did they understand? Did they say, "Oh yeah, it happens all the time with this model"? Or were they like saying, whatever?
Well, what they said was, what happened? And I explained what happened calmly. He said, look, this thing just died on me last night when I was trying to do a podcast. And I didn't get, just belabor it or say, look, I was thinking in the back of my mind, okay, I'm going to have that whole spiel going about, this is affecting my livelihood, bud. Okay. I need this thing here now. I was thinking about that and, hoping that I didn't have to go there. Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't, and they're like, okay. They didn't say anything. They didn't elaborate. They're like, okay, no problem. I'm going to have this guy call you, and he's going to send you an RMA. We're going to advanced warranty replace it and overnight you a new one. And so I was pretty excited about that. So
you put that message out that on Monday that it was going to be overnighted and we'll be able to do Doomcast on Wednesday. You sent that to me and Craig, and I was cautiously optimistic. I thought to myself, I can't tell you how many times I've told the customer, you're going to have it next day, and it ends up taking 6 business days to get there.
Well, so I knew they were.
I was not optimistic.
Yeah, I knew they were going to overnight it, but I didn't figure they'd get it out Monday because it has to go through the process. They wanted to talk about it and everything. Right. So I knew that it would probably go out Tuesday overnight, and it would make it here Wednesday. So
here we are.
Here we are. And that's the other thing. You start thinking, wow, man, okay, if this thing goes down, I need some kind of contingency plan. So then you start thinking, well, what would we do if this thing goes down? Or if I wanted to just be able to do the show on a laptop? Because after that, okay, so RBN, Republic Broadcasting, is a pretty big internet radio network as far as Patriot Radio.
Right.
And pretty standard stuff. Commercials, working with the clock, very similar to what you do there on Ren's. Yep. I picked up a gig over there for an hour on Sunday nights because it's one thing that I can actually probably make happen other than the Doomcast.
Whoa! I didn't know this. When did this start?
This started that Sunday evening because I was trying to start the show at 8, record that, and then do the other show at 9. And then if you felt frisky, bring you on to RBN to the inaugural show. So that was the idea, and I was going to propose
that is the RBN show.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of it, first of all, so I know what to call it?
Same thing, Blacklisted Radio.
Blacklisted Radio and RBN that's now every Sunday night at what time?
At 9 p.m. Allegedly.
9 p.m. Texas?
Although, if you look at the website, it hasn't been updated yet. And I'm chastising the board op over there for such.
All right. Well, congratulations. I didn't know you were hosting a program over there.
Yeah.
I'd have been happy to join you.
Yeah, it's only an hour, but here's the deal. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have the mixer. I don't have any of that ability, but how could I make this show happen with just me? Because with you, I have to mix you through the board. I have to record you on another box. So I've got to make some stuff happen. But if it's just me on Skype, I can just, do it on my phone maybe. So this is what I ended up doing. Pretty funny. I did a sound check. I called Craig, of course, producer Craig, always there to help. And I grabbed the stock headset from the Samsung here that's got the microphone on it.
Right.
And I called him up and I said, "How's this sound?" And he's like, "It sounds a little tinny," because of course I have no dampening in this room, and that's one of the reasons that we have the touch mix here to make it sound nice and gated. And I mean, even though I heard Junior back there kind of bleed through for a moment because he's teething, this thing is doing wonders with the microphone.
Is a teething machine.
Man, I'm telling you, I don't want to go off into Paul Reiser mode, but he's running, he's teething, he's running, he's got tons of teeth. He's got like 12 of them. He's not even a year old, and he's already running, and it's just, you're like, I'm not ready for any of this.
Tune up the arm of the couch.
Yeah. So anyway, I called Craig, and Craig's like, "Well, it sounds hollow." But he said, honestly, it doesn't sound that bad. So I had a little microphone condom for for a Shure SM58, just a regular dynamic stage mic. So I cut that thing in half and wrapped it around the microphone with some Velcro. Said, "How's this thing sound? How's it sound?" He's like, so he goes, "It doesn't sound bad." So I did the show. The board op didn't know that I was doing it. He kind of knew. And I'm like, "Dude, do you know that I'm doing a show?" And I said, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah. So I have to like rush him the bumpers. Okay. And I'm still flustered. Okay. I'm still like, oh.
This all happened after I hung up with you on Sunday?
Yeah. This all happened after you. Then I went on.
It was fairly late then. It was 10 o'clock your time then. Or no, I guess it wasn't.
It was 9. It was 9 when it happened. Time. But anyway, so I did the show. I don't even think they archived it. I haven't seen it anywhere. I couldn't record it, and I did it over my phone. The only reason I would even listen to it is just to see how crappy it sounded, or to see how, knowing how mad I was at the time, and how I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural maiden voyage of Blacklisted Radio. But anyway, so
I bet it sounded a lot better than you think.
I've heard worse stuff come out of people. I mean, there's some pretty bad radio shows out there that you can find. No doubt about it. I think that's why a lot of people listen to this show.
Well, let me ask you. So and we can move off the technical difficulty stuff. But I mean, that is an explanation if anybody's wondering why you haven't seen number 76 posted. It's because we haven't done it yet, but we're doing it right now. In the future, you have no way to record just a Skype conversation between you and I.
I do now. Yeah, and that's the other end of it. You got to spend some more money. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. If you have a microphone, you're going to have some kind of preamp, right? So I have to amplify the microphone, unless it's like a headphone or a headset or something like that. So I got a headset. It's a pretty nice one. Something that's, if you're going to spend $50, you might as well get something nicer. If you're going to spend $40 or you're willing to go $30, buy something that's not just going to fall apart on you, because almost everything now, if it's mid-grade, it's built in China, it's crap. So, so we spent more money, more Doomcast money, but we have a backup plan. I've got a hardware recorder. And I already had that. but I've actually got a headset and I've got a couple USB DACs, digital audio converters, and we can record it off of my wife's laptop and this laptop. No problem. And that's the other thing that I was going to do today. You know, you talk about all the stuff you put into a show or put into any kind of broadcast. I don't have a sound man. I am the sound man. So I'm going to have to do all of that, re-simulate what we're doing here and make sure that it's going to work. So in the event, Charlie McGrath, that we have the touch mix here, if it melts down on us, that we can still do the show.
We have a backup plan.
But
even if that backup plan was in place on Sunday, to be honest with you, it was dubious at best, the notion that I was going to be able to, make it work with 36% left on a Samsung and using the exact same technology you're just talking about, which is the earbuds that come with it. Right. And try to, and hope that the Skype would run not through the Wi-Fi in the house, because through my phone and the Wi-Fi at home, because I don't have it. The power was out. So I'm using the cell connection to try to run a Skype conversation. And I don't know if it would have worked anyway, even if the backup plan would have been in place. It's, paramount that I think electricity is running to this house probably to make a Doomcast work.
Yeah, I've got a UPS here, so I can, as long as I guess, all of the routers upstream from me still have power, I'll have power, I'll have internet. All of it's on a big UPS here. But in the background, I go beep, 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 beep. So, I don't know how that would end up playing out. But I could probably silence this thing, and we could probably go for an hour or two. For sure. We've got a doomsday backup plan. And
it's good. It's good because we are
It's not quite
Doomcast.
mil spec, but it'll do.
It'll do. It's commercial grade. Well, looking at the week that was, both of us had very challenging weeks days prior to Sunday, or we would have recorded the Doomcast on Thursday or Friday or Saturday or whatever. But I guess that's water under the bridge, and there's nothing we can do about that now. It's gone. It's over. It was very a doomy week on my front.
Made it, well, I think about this. So we made it through 5 episodes, doing it week after week after week without
missed a week.
Never missed a week. And you know what? We probably could have done it knowing that if I said, hey, Charlie, Sunday night when we do the show, the mixer's going to burn up out of nowhere. We could have made it happen before that. But
yes, we could have. But we were so screwed at 9 p.m. Central Time on Sunday evening to try to get it done and have it, up on Doomcast, up on our websites by that evening, because that technically would have been, that was the last window to get 76 in the can before, we failed to meet the weekly deadline. And it just, whatever, it happened. Can't go backwards.
It's destiny. Sometimes you have to look at it and say, this is maybe part of synchro mysticism, part of the Doomcast aura. Maybe.
Yeah, and it gave Craig all kinds of ammunition to basically call us sissies and wussies and, give us some crap for not getting the Doom on.
Yeah, and making really good. Have you seen the night Doug's board crashed? He put out a post, which was very kind of him to let everybody know that. The mixer crapped the bed. I bet you a bunch of people out there are like, ha, that's what you get for buying that fancy dancy thing that doesn't make you sound any better anyway. Doug Owen, you suck. There were some interesting comments.
Way to waste our money, Doug Owen.
Saw one of the comments on one of your YouTubes, and it says, intro sucks. That's the whole point. The intro's supposed to suck. I got the crappiest music we can find, and we used to have Towley telling you, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Walking on sunshine. Something like that.
I feel like I'm walking on sunshine.
This guy.
I don't know.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I guess sorry, Owen. Think about that person if you knew him in your day job, right? Mm-hmm. The guy that would listen to a podcast, and had to be titillated by the intro music. You wouldn't talk to that person. You wouldn't want to talk to that person. You'd be like, yeah, get out of here.
I think we turn off enough people with the name. I get that all the time. Oh, you don't want to talk about solutions, man. You're not about solutions. You're about doom. I'm tired of that. I'm like, I'm sorry, Sorry, Alex Jones or somebody else wore you out, but there is plenty of Doom to talk about, people. Okay?
Yes, there is.
Don't waste yourself on all the faux Doom. Okay? This is where the real Doom is. Okay? So bad that when we talk, okay, it just
shit happens, man.
It just blows electronic equipment up.
Oh,
transformers explode. I mean,
we
this is
audited.
real. It's real, folks. It's real.
End up on a list.
Get put on a list before you know it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, I finished the recording. I had my buddy Eric on tonight on Rinse.
Eric Lovely.
Eric Lovely.
Of the Lovely family.
Of the Lovely family. And it was a good program. And we were just kind of shooting the breeze, talking a little bit about what's going on, some of the info coming out of Davos. And I told him that I'm in a weird place because I'm having a lot of things come to fruition at the exact same time. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Can I do that?
Yeah. Okay. It sounds foreboding.
It's not that foreboding. It could be. I mean, it could be very foreboding. Or it could be, It could be very wonderful. I mean, I don't know, but I can tell you that everybody that follows my YouTube channel or Rants or this is going to know soon because, the asthma issue, right? And I told you that you're going to be talking to me next week. I'm going to be in Denver, and February. I think I'm literally home 8 days in February.
Wait. Before we have a theme song for you here. Where is it?
The theme.
Where's your theme music?
I don't know.
I don't remember where I put it now. Hold on a second.
Diego.
Where is Charlie McGrath? It should be right under here. Under where's? Let's see. We got Sarah Palin.
Waterboarding is how we baptize terrorists.
Oh, and I play the other one behind it because that's a squirter one. Oh, I'm the squirter.
Hold on. Here you go.
Where in the world is
Charlie McGrath?
We go from Nashville to Norway, but air to
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a squirter, Dale.
All right, back to serious stuff like the New World Order, talking about enslavement, the elites.
Yeah, this is just personal crap. But all right, I've had like 25,000 views on a video that I shot a year ago. Almost a year ago. It was a day after I had like a very, very bad asthma episode. Very, very bad.
So everybody came to see if you're going to die, right?
Right. Yeah, it was an ambulance ride. It was very scary, and I came home when I was released, and basically, I think it was about 3:00 in the morning. I sat down, and I turned the camera on, and I told this whole story of how since I was 22 years old, I'd ran at least one, most years two, full 26-mile marathons every single year. I would plan these. And then, countless half marathons, 13-mile runs or 10Ks or 5Ks. There was years where I had 12 or 14 T-shirts from different races that I ran. I mean, that was a very, very major part of my life. It was going out and competing in these races. And, I used it to stay in shape. And that was me, Doug Owen. That was me in 2008. Right. In 2009, I was still into that level of activity. And then this out of blindsiding out of nowhere comes this sinus issue, asthma issue. And in the world of asthma, they call it the asthmatic triad or something like that, where it's sinuses and allergic allergens to NSAIDs and then asthma in your lungs. So anyway, it came out of nowhere. It progressed to the point where there was a time where I couldn't even do my radio program for a month, and varying degrees of severity. And actually, for the last, I'm going to say 90 days or so, it's been fairly good. I still have medicine that I have to take and regular visits, doctor visits and whatnot. But in that course of time, local specialists I would see. And during this treatment period, I would talk to them about, environmental conditions that I've been in my life, being it my career or, in my military service. And my primary asthma and allergy specialist was convinced that it was, this environmental conditions I was exposed to during my time in the military, namely the almost year I spent in the Gulf where we were burning human waste, and I think more relevant would the time I had spent during the Kuwaiti oil fire, 700 plus oil wells lit on fire, and we were living in that for months at a time. For months, we were living in these conditions with no respirators or any kind of equipment other than a do-rag to tie around your face. But at this time, after the treatment of this asthma specialist and looking at all the different environmental aspects of my life, taking multiple allergy tests where they stick you with 150 needles to see if you're allergic to anything, it was of his opinion that it was as least likely as not that my condition is manifesting from environmental conditions years and years ago. Thus started this dance with the Veterans Administration, and that claim was filed almost a year ago at this time. Now, during that time that the claim was filed, that the video was made, I explained in that video that, look, I have a relative who's fairly high up in the VA, and he has helped me, I guess, circumnavigate the landmines of trying to file a VA claim and the best way to go about it. None of it's trickery or none of it's anything illegal. It's just knowing what forms to send in, what kind of claims to send in, and then what kind of evidence and proof to send in to support your claim. And it's a real help up. And I said in that video that when this is all said and done, I will make another video saying, if it got approved, and then B, if it did, how I could, pass this information along to maybe other veterans who are thinking about doing the same thing, to give them the best opportunity to receive some kind of benefit for their service. Well, during that time, between the time of the video and now, the severity of these attacks became worse, and I got referred to the #1 respiratory hospital in the nation. It's in Denver, Colorado. It is the best respiratory hospital in the world, actually, not only the United States, but in the world. And over 115 years, they've been in existence. And that process of getting in there had to happen by referral. And the time factor, I thought it would be a couple months, but it's taken like 6 months to get into it, to get in to see these guys. Well, Doug Owen, this week, actually last week, as Doomcast 76 is melting down, all these things came together. The claims process with the Veterans Administration has been closed, meaning there's been a decision rendered that my case is closed. And at the exact same time, I'm buying airline tickets because I finally got in to this hospital in Denver that I've been, banking a lot of my future on. So the Veterans Administration, with all this age of technology, you think they would email you the information. They don't. It's a packet that I will get, and I will know if A, my claim is approved, and then all that entails, or B, if it's not, then the appeal process and what that entails. I will be finding that out at the same time I am flying into Denver to go to this upper end hospital. So the irony there is very, very thick as far as I'm concerned, because none of these were supposed to take this long. None of them were started to coordinate the crossing the finish line at the same time. But it just happens to work out that my VA questions will be answered, my future health situation will be answered, all in the span of a few days of one another. So very exciting times for me, and also very scary times for me. I might be going down to find out that this is as good as it's going to get. It's degenerative, and I'm going to die from it eventually. Or I could be walking into a situation where they say, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what we could do to make your life at least some semblance of what it was. And then from the VA aspect, we're talking not only compensation, which is fairly significant, but potentially the ability, if I so choose, to use that system to look at the current medical condition I have, as an outlet to go to that would actually be paid for because of my military service.
Oh, they're going to kill you, Charlie. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. If you go to one of their places, like, this guy's going to get a lot of money. I firmly believe that. Everybody I know that's ever gone to a VA hospital for something is. I told you the story about my buddy who had a melanoma on his back, and he was going to get it. He was going to get it removed, and they cut the thing off, and they gave him a prescription. He's like, okay, and he goes to the pharmacy. Had some name on it, some generic, or not a generic name, but something that's actual medical name, and lo and behold, it's Valtrex. And he's sitting there. He's like, yeah, they gave me Valtrex. And I was like, isn't that herpes medicine? Isn't that for like herpes? Because I remember the Valtrex commercials? They were pretty ridiculous. Yeah. So, lo and behold, it is. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, you got it wrong. Sorry, you don't need that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's like with government or anything else. You've got to, or I think it's a great point that you have to make sure that you take your healthcare into your own hands, just like you're doing now. Because if you don't, if you're the only one that's vested in the government will give you subpar treatment, and if any, that's why you're very, very. It might be, but I mean, this is only a few years ago, and I used to.
No. I said I think that what you're saying is proven to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reason to be, especially something that is life-threatening. Your respiratory system or your cardiovascular system, if it's jacked up, you trust me, if you're facing those, these ambulance rides, and you're looking at, and you're listening to emergency room doctors telling you it was a good thing you shoved that EpiPen into your leg when you did. When you're hearing that kind of crap, you're not gonna. I know I'm with you. I'm not going to the guys who got their degree because they decided to join the military and they're part of now the VA system. And that's certainly not saying that there's not good quality people that work for that system. But if you're in that position, if your family member, your child or your loved one was in that position, you would want them to go to the best. I mean,
sure,
and you couldn't blame them for that. So yeah, I have no intention of calling up Denver and saying, "Ooh, guys, yeah, I know I've waited for 6 months to get in and see."
No, I was talking about. I mean, not for this, but the post-op care when you have to go back later on. When you say, "Hey, I've got an ache in my back," and I'm, "Oh yeah, your heart's all clogged. Hold on, let's do some open heart surgery." That's the kind of stuff that happens. Oh yeah, you know.
Trust me. I mean, I might utilize the system, just as a benefit, but it's as you said. You have to take full responsibility and be fully cognizant of what they're telling you and what they want to do to you. And that isn't just the VA system. That's any system. That's urgent care. That's your emergency room. That's your local, your family doctor, because, we've all talked about, reported on, and seen the horror stories, and the factory type, atmosphere in some of these hospitals. You go in and they're prescribing you something and you're out the door. And in a lot of cases, it's just a matter of making widgets. They're getting people in and out the door as fast as they can. And if you don't understand it, if you don't understand what they're asking you to take, and what it's going to do to your body and what the potential long-term effects are, then you truly are asking for trouble, because there's a lot of people that will, you'll go in because you have an injury in your knee, and they're jacking you up on, prednisone or some other kind of oral steroid for a long period of time, and you don't know that it's going to cause you to go blind, right, or that it's going to cause your bones to become weak, or your skin thin, or But it's a drug that is now prescribed almost like aspirin. It's amazing to me. Coworkers will go in for an ache or a pain, or something that seems that you would take Tylenol for, or Advil, and they're putting them on a steroid, and it's very, very dangerous drug. I mean, it's effective, but the side effects are pretty severe.
Yeah, I mean, you should just weigh it. That's all I'm saying. Definitely weigh it.
Absolutely.
Be careful with what you're, because a lot of times they want to help you, but they just don't know how. And so what happens is they, if it's really bad, they're like, well, we can try this, and it might work. And
that's where I was really, really fortunate. And part of it is this, the Doomcast. Part of it's the radio program. and getting out there and talking about these topics. I've been very fortunate to have and seen the results of having a very, very open dialogue with my doctors,
Right.
And not afraid to say, look, I have a program on the Rinse Network, and I talk to these doctors all the time who are, the warning about this, it doesn't matter if it's vaccines or whatever, and just explaining your concerns to them. And a lot of times, they're on board.
Yeah.
And, they at least will take the time to answer some of your questions a little further. And if they can't, then maybe it's a sign. Get the hell out of there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if it really bothers them to talk about, their procedures or,
right.
I mean, it's just, it's a mess because you have people that, especially doctors that are trying to do their best to help you out. Even, right. I mean, sure, there's a lot of them that are on the dole. They're just there to, pump drugs. But I mean, mostly surgeons, people that are trying to, I mean, if you come in there asking for, pills to make you happy, I'm sad. They're going to give you happy pills and they're, right. Something that you want most of the time. I don't know how to cope with
That's
things.
their job. I mean, they're trained when they go to medical school, and the whole entire process until they're practicing on their own or in a hospital.
Right.
That they need to do something to make you feel better, mm-hmm. and it doesn't matter if you come in there with a broken leg or you have you're melancholy. They're not going to just say, you'll be fine, cheer up, and then send you on your way. They're going to hand you something, and and that's what's become, I think, the epidemic. Isn't the fact that it is the fact that physicians will prescribe. They're always going to prescribe you something. Rarely will you go in and not get some kind of script. Does it fall on them or does it fall on you to understand, what a serotonin reuptake inhibitor is, and do you really need that? Is that really what's going on?
I think if you and I believe that in a free society, you should be able to do that. I think that it's in their best interest and in yours for you to know as much as possible, and that there are consequences. I think that if not, you're legally culpable. I mean,
I think if you're going in and you're taking, whatever they're prescribing you and not doing the absolute most diligence you can as far as learning what's wrong with you before you even go in there, and what they're giving you in order to remedy that. Is it just curing a symptom? Is it going to psychologically affect you in the long term? If you don't do that, then you're more to blame than the doctor. I mean, this is your body. Right. This is your life, and I'm not saying that they don't care. I think they do care. But you got to remember, I mean, these guys, these gals, when's the last time you're at your family doctor? There's a room full of people. They're seeing somebody every 5 minutes. You need to understand what they're doing to you.
Well, I mean, here's a perfect example. Okay, I go to the doctor if I have to. If I really think that there's something really, really wrong that isn't going to pass in the next 2 or 3 days, I don't go to my doctor because I feel sad. I don't go to my doctor because life isn't treating me fair. I don't go to my doctor because I have a mild cold. I wouldn't go to my doctor because I had a mild fever until, I thought it was really bad, and you could tell. But I see people when the few times that I have recently been at the doctor, people they just feel like crap. They're just sad. They're just depressed. They're just whatever, and they right. They want something to fix them. And it's like, well, it might make you feel better, but it could be killing your liver.
Sure.
Tylenol, it gets rid of your headache, but if you take too much of it, it will kill you. So
you cross the 4,000 milligrams a day mark, and you're flirting with disaster.
So have you heard about the big story? Speaking of medical news, about the kid. Do you have any more? You want to wrap it? Or
I would just, the whole reason I want to get into it and wasn't to go down the medical line or the VA line, but the irony of it, that all these two major things that have been a big part of my life for the last couple of years are coming. They're both coming to fruition at the exact same moment in time, and to me, that's very, very ironic. I had figured that the claim situation would be months and months, if not almost a year ahead of this final treatment at this hospital in Denver, but it just the way things worked out, much longer than I thought it was going to take. But here they are, both happening at the same time. So it's like I said, it's exciting news. It could be very doomy or it could be very undoomy, depending how the next 7 days go. And most certainly, by the time we do Doomcast next, I'll be doing it from Denver that I'll have answers to a lot of these questions.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, at least it's going to provide some closure, or at least give you an idea of what, some really smart people think about the situation. I mean, it's either going to be that they can do something or they believe they can. And then, I mean,
you know what the first thing they do to me, Doug? Before I
don't know, man. I don't want to be the gloom and doom guy. I mean, but I just want you to be careful. This is man to man, friend to friend. You need
tell
to be
me
careful.
like it is, brother.
I wouldn't if I didn't like you. But you just have to be careful with what.
Well, trust me. I've more than done my due diligence on looking at not only the institution I'm going to, but the actual doctors that are handling my case. And then, the massive list of procedures they're going to do. Most of them are testing. But I mean, the very first thing that happens after they give you financial counseling to tell you how much you're going to be responsible for and blah, 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 is, they're invoking an asthma attack. They're going to put me on a treadmill and force me to run until I go into a
those
attack.
Well, here's the thing. It might have saved your life. You never know. If you kick, because people kick the bucket running those marathons all the time. I mean, that is hard on your body. It's not healthy. It's not.
Yeah. It is healthy. What are you talking about?
It is absolutely not healthy to run those marathons. Bull crap.
Have
you ever watched those people at the end of the Boston Marathon that are pooping on themselves, falling over, cracking?
I've seen it happen.
That is not healthy. Those people, you're like, oh man, that runner, he died at 45. Oh, that runner, he died at 55. Okay. I hear that all the time.
Oh, come on. Now, you're not suggesting for 1 second that the anecdotal stories you hear about the millions of people who partake in running as recreation and as somewhat of a challenge,
it's hard on your body. Anything that's like that, it's hard on your joints. It's hard on.
It's like any exercise. First of all, any exercise can kill you if you overdo it. Is running more difficult on your joints and everything than running? I mean, than walking or biking? Yeah, I won't argue that point. But I can't tell you how many people I know that I'm thinking of 2 of them right now that are in their late 60s that still go out and run a marathon every year. Now they're not going out and they're not running a 2.5 hour marathon.
I'm just saying that if you, I've got a bunch of friends that are good runners and that go out there and
look. My fastest marathon time is 3 hours and 24 minutes. So I mean that's not bragging. I mean that's not great. But it isn't like I would go out and run to the point of passing out. I wasn't that competitive, and I'm a short, stocky Irishman. I'm never going to be a sub 3 hour marathon runner, no matter how much I did it. I could go out and exercise for 3.5 hours, and I just took pride and joy in that fact, and it. Can it affect you? I mean, it's not going to give you asthma. That's for damn sure.
But it might irritate it. I mean, that's how. Obviously, how do you get? How do you induce the attack? You run.
Well,
so.
No. Well, that's a great point. They are going to induce. They're going to get my heart rate up to a point where. To verify.
I'm just saying, be careful. And if you run out there, it is hard on your body. It's hard on your joints, and it's hard on your cardiovascular if you do a lot of it. Like anything, there's too much of it. And some people that train, it wears on your body. It's really hard. And
I'm sure. That's why professional athletes are done at 33 or so, because they do. But as far anybody listening right now, if you're a runner, you're hating Doug Owen. Because
I'm a runner. I love running. You know that I love running. I know how bad it is, and that's one of the things that tears me apart. Is that I love to run, but I know that if I do it 2 to 3, 4 times a week, my knees feel sore, my body feels like death. I start looking.
And
wrinkly.
I'd be willing to bet you that when I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'd come through a long, cold winter in Montana, and the first time I'd go out and run 12 miles to get ready for an upcoming spring marathon, me packing around 200 pounds when I should be packing around 170 was always the cause of my body aches and pains. It wasn't the fact that I was out running a 9-minute mile. I was out running a 9-minute mile when I was 25 pounds overweight. And
well, don't worry, our listeners are doing this right here. They're not out there running marathons, so I'll just let you know that.
Then you folks start with the elliptical. It's
so, are you a TSA pre-check guy? try to actually get into some news. We're like 46 minutes into this. We should talk about something
news.
topical.
This is big news. This is my life. I don't know if I could cover something that I'm more passionate about other than am I going to breathe normally in the future coming up.
But you don't know. I mean, what if they tell you that we just don't know, Charlie? Then it's the next episode. It's a soap opera. It's never
There's no other, the only other authority is
what
the
if you
Almighty.
Well, no. I mean, there's other people. There are other authorities.
I'm telling you right now, the doctor.
These are not like the high priest of society that you are going to be meeting with.
I'm telling you right now. I maybe after the program, I'll send you a link to the doctor, the one who's running my case. She is the top specialist in her field in the country. I mean, she is absolutely the top. She's a professor as well as this fantastic doctor with just accomplishments falling off of her for a 30-year career. I have absolute faith that I'm seeing the best that there is. So, and to be honest with you, Owen. Yeah. And to be honest with you, and anybody else listening, if it's asthma, if it's truly asthma as defined in the medical books, there is no cure for asthma. There just isn't. There has never been one, and what they can do is treat it with different drugs to try to lessen the frequency of attacks. And if it's something worse, I mean, if there's a pulmonary embolism floating around in there that's causing these types of, I want to know. And
right.
So it'll be what it'll be. Hopefully, I get some mobility back, but I'm ready to find out. That's what I'm saying.
Well, it sounds like you'll be in good hands.
Yes, I will.
You'll find out. You'll get some closure. We'll
you'll be getting closure next Wednesday. Actually, I'll be a couple days into testing, and I'll tell you how wonderful or how miserable it is. And as far as the VA thing goes, I think that's incredibly important. Not for necessarily the Doomcast, but I know there was a lot of veterans who listened to that 20-minute video that are, and because I still get emails. I mean, the things. It's been up for months.
You couldn't do this through your regular medical. I mean, why is it imperative that you go through that? You just want them to pay all of the money? I'm just curious. I mean, I understand if you do. That makes perfect sense. That's why I asked.
For the veterans' benefits, I've compartmentalized. My medical situation is completely in the private sector. As we talked about a few minutes ago, that's because I think that's where I would get the best results. The the VA benefit is, it's a benefit that, that I had been having people try to talk me into it, namely the relative that is in the VA system, who has seen hundreds of veterans, in the same circumstance, that for a long time would get completely shot down until, thoughts on Gulf War and Gulf War syndrome changed a bit in the VA, in the Veterans Administration, and they started to realize it as a real thing. And then, then more veterans were able to step up and get the benefits that they needed. So, the medical benefit is huge. The financial benefit, if I chose to use that system, the financial benefit, it's nothing to sneeze at. Certainly nobody's going to quit their job and, live on the VA dole. But, Owen, I probably personally spent, I don't even know. $50,000 maybe in the last 5 years out of pocket, on different procedures and different, medications. And God knows what my insurance company has paid. It's
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This trip to Denver, and then we can move off of it because I know we've dominated the program with it. It starts at 20,000. It could go as high as 60 for this 1 week period or 4 days I'm down there. And that's if nothing has to be done, extraordinary, any kind of extraordinary surgery or something might happen, that's outside of that. So it's ridiculous. Our medical system, as you know, you just had a baby. It's ridiculously expensive. So if there's help out there for a veteran who believes that the cause of his illness is his time in service, absolutely, I want to help that guy or gal figure out how to take advantage of that, because I think it's something that they deserve.
Right. No, I completely agree. I just, when you go back to the military, I mean, that's one of the few things I really decided after working in VA hospitals for quite some time in the private sector was that it was going to have to be really, really.
Wait a minute,
really
in your current
bad.
profession, you mean in the electrical world?
Well, yeah.
Or
I
were
mean,
you-
I used to work on nurse call systems. I worked on this system. All of the little bells and whistles in hospitals. You have
Code
the
99.
all that stuff. Yeah, putting in corridor lights for the code blues, and so
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in VA hospitals, and it was always a bare bones budget, and they were always trying to, it was just that the doctors there were mandated, it seemed, to try to remedy situations, and they have, rather than always the patient's best interest at heart, it's really what their protocols end up being.
Right.
And
And when you're talking psychological, or mental, excuse me, circumstances from a veteran in a VA system, it is. I mean, it's a matter of what drug do we give them, and so I think there's certain ailments that first of all, there's a lot of veterans they don't have a choice. I mean, it's not like they can, they have the wherewithal. Or the ability to use the different systems. They feel trapped in the VA system, but there's certainly I guess sectors. If it's mental health, there's no way. I mean, if I felt I was having PTSD or some kind of other, I would absolutely I would be terrified of entering that system just from all the horror stories that I've heard. Of different drugs that they put these guys on and just set them loose, basically,
Yeah.
But if it's something like, you hurt your knee or whatever, you fell off your ship or whatever when you were in the Navy.
I fell off my ship.
You fell
that
off
happened
your
all the
ship.
time. Oh my God, I just fell off my ship.
Then why not? But
Ouch, I just dropped my ship.
my ship fell on my foot. What am I going to do?
Oh no.
What kind of ship are you on? You were on a dinghy or something? Destroyer?
Yeah, a dinghy.
A destroyer, right? You were on a destroyer. It had 235 men. It was 198 feet long and 50-foot beam. I remember all this.
That's pretty scarily correct, or pretty
Yeah.
close too. I don't know about the beam, but I don't even know if that's a term, but I like it.
The beam is the width of the ship. I know this, Doug, because you told me a destroyer, and I often do, I Google search as you're telling me things, and I read the description of that class of destroyer.
Oh wow.
And then
Yeah, Spruce class destroyer.
It was like, yeah,
That's right. 234 dudes.
living together in a can.
They can. When I meet criminals and they tell me, "Hey man, I did time," I said, "Yeah, so did I. So did I." It's pretty close. Really close to being an institutionalized, in a group setting.
I think destroyers are, and I was Army, but I think destroyers are the coolest of ships because they're kind of like the old Corvettes, the ships. They're fast, they're mobile, and nowadays they pack a ton of firepower. Ton.
Yeah. Well, for me at the time, I wasn't really interested in all of that. I was more interested in the fact that small ships get to go into almost all ports. So when you go out for 6 months, you get to go to more places on a small ship because it needs fuel. A carrier has a nuclear reactor. It doesn't need to fuel up.
Yeah.
They have a lot more storage. So we would actually, pull in and have to get potable water, milk, stock up on food. So that was great. So in a 6 month tour or cruise, a carrier might maybe get 6-7 port calls, whereas a destroyer we'd get often 24 to 35 different countries. It sometimes
was every destroyer part of a
battle group.
A battle group, a carrier battle group?
Yes, that's how it works. At least it did then.
So you would veer off the battle group to go to port to fuel up.
Mm-hmm.
But the carrier with that nuclear reactor, that is only limited by the whatever 6 months worth of food it can store.
Right.
We just keep cruising on, and you guys would get to go in and check out the port.
Get drunk.
Get some liberty, as they call it. Liberty.
Get liberty. Throw cars around.
Wear your white little uniforms with your bell bottoms.
That's right.
Look all sharp and dapper.
Dapper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Until you went to Yemen.
and then we shot missiles into children.
Yeah, how'd that make you feel?
It was surreal. Surreal because you're watching it on satellite TV. You're watching CNN report things that you're seeing happen in almost real time. You're seeing other battle groups not, you can...
This
you
was
can
under Clinton, right? You were this was like Sarajevo, you were shooting this stuff, or was this Gulf?
This was Kosovo. This
Kosovo.
was
Okay.
Milosevic and
So a little bit after me. I mean, just a few years after me. But yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the boat I was on was going to port in Yemen the week after the Cole. So
I was going to say, you weren't on the Cole, were you?
No, but I knew people that were on the Cole. I didn't know anybody that died on the Cole, but I knew people that were on the Cole that were there that day. Which
seemed amazing that they're that thin, that because the hole that was blasted in there.
Yeah.
That you could what? It would look like it was 30 feet long and 10 feet diameter, tall. And it was just amazing. It's amazing that, because I was in the Army, there's absolutely no way that any kind of threat could ever have gotten that close without just being lit up. And so, but I guess you're a little different. I mean, because you're not.
I think that you just don't know. I mean, you could be sitting there and you think it's a civilian on a boat, and you're like, "Oh, hey, look, there's a fisherman over there." And next thing you know, I mean, you're not prepared to shoot this guy, and that's
see that, and maybe that's the difference because we were in the desert, and we're in the middle of nowhere, and if someone's rolling up.
But you're in a war. You're in a war theater.
Yeah,
we weren't fighting people in Yemen. There wasn't. There weren't unfriendlies that were known to at least.
Apparently, there were.
Apparently they were known to those people. At least the ones that were there that day that died for sure.
Yeah, and in that situation, those vessels, those Navy ships, they're interacting with the civilian population a whole lot more than a Second Armored Cavalry Regiment in the desert in Saudi Arabia or Iraq, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're usually in a port that you're paying to be in that should have some kind of paid for security. At least, and this is prior to the War on Terror. We're talking 1999. So there was a different mindset. I think it was 99.
I'm gonna look it up. USS Cole. I think you're right. Cole. Was it K? Was it COLE?
COLE.
Dead air.
USS
Cole was a DGG 67.
Yeah, that's it.
2000 on October 12th, 2000. The Cole was a target of a terrorist attack carried out by Al Qaeda in the Yemeni port of Aden. 17 sailors were killed. 39 were injured. The ship was heavily damaged in the attack. On the 29th of November 2003, Cole deployed for her first overseas deployment after the bombing. Subsequent blase. To her repair.
There you go.
The January 6, 1991 was its date of order. Launched 10 February 95. It's a brand new ship almost.
Oh, yeah.
Propulsion. Propulsion for General Electric. They're in everything.
GE bringing good wars to the front, always.
56 kilometers an hour. That thing would move. That's amazing to me. I know this is Doomcast, but it is amazing to me that a ship that big, the beam is 66 feet, 500 feet long, can travel that fast. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it has... Well, I don't know about this class. Let me see, but... destroyers at the time had 4 gas turbine engines, so it's basically 4 jet engines.
Yeah,
with a huge prop in the back, 2 big daddy, I think 13-foot props. So I mean, you look at a race boat, it's got like a 12-inch, maybe even 11-inch prop. I mean, they're just tiny. You're like, really, that little thing? It looks like a fan. It propels that boat, and you're like, oh yeah.
But what's amazing is I used to be big into boating and water skiing and stuff. So I had a 21-foot Glastron with a 302 Ford V8, and I think it had a 9-inch prop. And what's amazing is that thing would get up and go at about 52 miles an hour, top speed, full trim, clear, calm lake. But that is roughly the same speed as that destroyer will go.
Oh yeah,
and that's amazing. I mean, that's amazing, and it'll do it for 4,400 miles.
it will. Yeah, it's pretty. You don't do it often, but they do it about every. Well, it depends on the work ops and stuff, but they have to do it at least once a year. Just go full speed, full blast, and then bust. Starboard, then back, and it's you look at that whale tail on it, and it's 60, 70 feet in the air sometimes. It's pretty amazing, especially. But you know what the fastest boat in the Navy is?
I think it's an aircraft carrier.
It is an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Now, most of the pictures are classified. You might be able to find them, but we've seen. I saw the USS Kennedy and the Roosevelt at top speed, and it's amazing. For all of you wakeboarders out there, imagine riding a 120-foot wave. I mean, the rooster tail on the back of that thing is just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We have some good information, some more useful information for some of the people out there. I got this from Mark, and he listened to Doomcast 75. He says, was listening to Doomcast 75 in regards to point spreads. He recommends maybe freeplays.com. I'm not supporting that, but he put that link into the email. I don't know. It says, shows the opening line and the opening movements. Their information is gathered from Five Dime Sport Book in Costa Rica, who uses a service as Las Vegas does for opening lines of sporting events. Some books use in-house line setters. Others use a line service due to the federal laws limiting sports wagering to the state of Nevada and a couple more states offshore. Wagering is much more popular amongst U.S. citizens. This activity is illegal, but people find ways to circumvent the ridiculous federal laws. As always, government's always responsive, and people want to bet money, they're going to do it. Sports wagering is legal in most of the world, but not very much here in the good old USA. Not surprising. When placing a bet, you get that number, the line at what it is at the time, no matter which way the line moves after your wager, if it should move at all. So
okay. Well, that's important because if you, for example, this weekend, Anderson Silva, this is UFC, I follow the UFC, fights Nick Diaz, and when that line opened, it was a huge spread. It was plus 450 Diaz, negative 350 Diaz, plus 425 Silva. Meaning, I got it backwards. Let me say it again. Diaz
it doesn't matter. We get the idea.
Yeah, the underdog. If you bet 100, you make 425 if he wins, and vice versa. You have to bet 350 to win 100 if Silva won. However, if you took that bet when that line was made, you have huge odds for Diaz. So if you place the bet on him, you can make a lot of money. But as the betting and the wagering came in, that line became closer and closer. So now, if you place the bet on Diaz, you maybe only win $200 if you bet 100, to whereas a few weeks before you'd win nearly 500. So that's important to know. If you're betting, that you need that line to stay where it's at.
Well, yeah, and I guess if you have an inside track that something, because all of that moves, I guess, based on whatever knowledge you have at hand, the best information available. If your best guy isn't coming to the game, then if Tom Brady is sick, okay, he's coughing at media day. If he's sick, then the chances for the Patriots to win is very little. If he's horribly sick, if he's dying, if he's pooping on the the field, it's no good. It's no good. Okay, he's got the runs. Game over. And if you knew that he was eating chili the night before and drinking cheap beer, then you might have the inside track on that, and you might be able to work with it. Anyway, the juice, as I mentioned, is actually called the Vigorish, and I thought that was a pretty interesting term. I googled that myself there, Mr.
The
McGrath.
Juice, the spread is called the what? Vigorish?
Yeah, it says, just note, sometimes the line will not move at certain times. The sportsbook's option to underdog at +3. Okay, I don't quite get that. Oh, wait. When placing a bet, sorry, jumped off here. Okay, it will not move. Option to change the vigorish, or as you put it, the juice, which is commonly called for. For instance, they might have team A at -3 at the standard -110 or standard 110, and instead of raising the line to 3.5, they sometimes make team A 3 to 115. Oh, this is too hard. This is math, and I don't want to try to do it on radio here. But anyway, I mean, you get the idea that the sports books, of course, they're going to move things, but the most important thing is you lock it in, and it's called the vigorish. So if you want to impress your friends, and you're like, oh, when they say the juice, you say, oh, you mean the vigorish. Ha 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 ha. Yes. I know what you're saying.
Betting genius. I know. Vigorish.
When I was a child, I used to call it that too, my friends. Sound really cool in front of everybody. Hey, you know what? Are you flying to Denver? When are you flying?
I fly Monday back. So February, the Where Is Charlie theme song would be quite appropriate because
the Where Is Charlie's theme song
is exactly what February you're going to be playing.
What? I lost you. Oh wait, you ducked out there. What'd you say? Oh wait, there we go. Hold on.
Where in the world is
Charlie McGrath?
We go from Nashville to Norway, but air to Zimbabwe.
I'm not going to quit my day job and become a producer of a comedy radio show.
I still like it. Everybody needs to know that's Doug Owen's voice saying that.
It is.
Denver, Monday, back Saturday. The following Wednesday, Portland. And then I drive 4 hours. I'm all over Oregon on next week, back Friday, home for a week, and then to New Orleans for several days. So I will be 3 Dooms on the road for sure.
On the road again.
On the road. Which is the fun.
Are you a pre-check guy?
No. I'm not
good. Because did you hear what they're doing to the pre-check folks? The TSA wants to log into their Facebooks. I want to get into your Facebook real quick. Can we just go ahead and look in there, Mohammed?
I'm pretty sure that they there might be a branch of government doing that anyway.
That's why I thought it was kind of funny. It's like, well, why do they have to do that? Can't the TSA just scrutinize everybody? I mean,
the whole pre-check. I fly a lot, but I don't think enough to. There's just spatterings through the year where it seems like I'm traveling a lot. And I don't know. I don't like any of it. I mean, I take the pat down if I have that opportunity, which I do every time there's a scanner involved. Metal detector, I guess I'm not so afraid of, but
it looks like these hogs like beef.
Indeed, they do radiate them a little bit. The TSA, the Viper, the expansion onto. Not only air travel, but we're going to see him. We're going to see him more and more on the road. And it's. I absolutely love the guys who are brave enough to film that whole the episodes when they go through. What Kokesh did a bunch of those, I think, and they were fantastic.
What are they? So I'm sorry. What was it he did?
Just the guys who they'll go through and strip down to their underwear, their boxers, and then just cause a big stink about the TSA raping, the TSA molesting that occurs. Raping might be a strong word. The molesting that occurs. I've interviewed people.
I thought he was in the military. He should understand what the whole molestation thing is all about. Anybody that's been in, he's in the military. Well, I mean, is he an Iraq war vet?
He is. But guess what? I'm not in the military anymore, and I don't believe that the military, the civilian military force we built in the TSA has stopped one terror attack. I don't believe it for 1 second.
You don't think, not that I am a fan, but you don't think that they deterred maybe one person from attack, thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to get away with it because they're such great, even though it's bullcrap, but it had to have deterred one person. I don't know if I buy that it hasn't deterred one person from doing something stupid, and that's what most of these terrorist attacks, these patsies for the FBI that have been coaxed and drugged, and...
They didn't stop them, did they?
Well, no. I mean, those are the guys that they bring to the airport and they give them the little detonation device. And they're like, you sure you want to do it? Okay.
You want to light your nuts on fire? Yeah, here. I didn't stop any of them. I mean, those examples that we know of.
I think that they made them. I think that they, they found people that otherwise would not have done that, but found, okay, well, if this guy had every resource imaginable and the worst influential friends that you could find, right, and the worst complex, peer pressure complex, then we can work this guy over. I mean, that's what they find. They find people that are mentally deficient, that are rabble rousing on the internet, and I mean, like the last guy, his tweets,
the DC guy,
yeah. But I mean, as one commenter said, "You're wrong. Look at that guy's beard. He was up to no good. No good." And I can't disagree. I mean, I'm not a profiler, but that beard doesn't lie. It says terrorist all over it.
Got terrorist written out. I don't know. I mean, the TSA. One of the guys I work with, he's a TSA agent. He goes out in the morning, 4 a.m. and works a shift and then comes into the office.
Touches some nuts.
Great guy, but.
I need to see your balls.
Yeah. Exactly. Look,
Tom, why are your balls so soft? Why are they so soft? The TSA agent wants to know.
They look shorn to me. That's a sure sign of somebody that plans on going to Mecca.
Do you have a booby bomb on you? I'm going to have to fill you up, man. I'm sorry. This is physical.
Well, there needs to be some security. There needs to be security when you climb on an airplane, because you're climbing on there with a couple hundred people that are not family. But do we need a whole
I guess, I mean,
uniforms to do it?
I guess the idea is that you need security to get on any plane or bus or any other mass transit with another person, because that makes it more of a target than if you were just driving. I mean, I don't know. I understand a little bit of security. I understand, basic security, but I think that the security theater and continuing to make it seem that what they are doing is effective is, number one, a huge misallocation of tax resources. I mean, you're pretending to find terrorists and finding and creating terrorists and taking money to protect us from terrorists that otherwise, if they weren't there, would not have attack the U.S. anyway. So I don't know. I mean, once you go down that slippery slope, it's like, well, I mean, is it more dangerous? I mean, do we have more terrorist attacks? Do we have more people blowing themselves up on planes than? I mean, before we had the TSA, we didn't have that happening all the time, and you were still way less likely to die on a plane, even if we had, I don't know, let's say we had 10 terrorist attacks that blew up, 300 people a year. That still pales in comparison to so many other things that, kill people in the U.S.
Yeah, and not even major diseases. I mean, auto accidents, bee stings when it comes to actual people killed by terrorists. And
it's just those things are really horrific and they're scary, and
and we could scare the hell out of a nation, and we can have 55,600 employees that propagate that fear and try to assert some kind of authority over the populace because of that fear, and a budget of $7.39 billion a year in order to promote a fear that as you pointed out, is misplaced. I mean, are we spending this kind of money and this kind of effort in fighting obesity or any other real threat to society? Nope. We're putting 60,000 people in uniform and basically using them as a way to propagate fear, to keep a war on terror prolific.
Yep. And
holy cow, we're an hour and a half into dooming.
Yeah, we've been dooming it up. Yeah.
Well, do we have thanks? Do we have thanks to give? I mean, they're routing through the Owen.
I don't think we do. I don't think we do.
Okay. Well, I know Owen needs some help because of his equipment debacle, but hopefully they didn't charge you anything, no shipping or anything to get that.
No, the QSC. I mean, I have to give them proper plugs. I mean, they didn't charge me anything. They immediately sent one out. They didn't. Okay, we're gonna have to fix this thing, and that was the first thing that I thought of was that. it's not so bad that it goes out, but okay, am I going to have to go buy another rig? Because I sold the other one on Craigslist. I'm not made of money over here, and I'm like, oh, geez, I shouldn't have sold that thing, because now if they're going to tell me it's going to be a 6-week turnaround, what are we going to do? We can't.
We'd be fudging it. We'd be figuring something out. On
man, we would have to definitely.
Well,
I was thinking about like getting my wife's computer and putting a third Skype person in our chat and then just recording that. So basically getting a conference call and having them record it. It would work. I've done it before, but
well, what I thought of was, in fact, I thought about it that Sunday night was, it's really handy to know Gary at certain times, and that certainly would be one of them.
Gary, help us out.
And he would. I mean, he's a great guy. He would host the call and record it, and he would want to do video. I mean, he's set up to do all that. So
I'd put a bow tie on so I'd look cool.
Yep. Look cool. You get that big old Longhorn off your T-shirt, off my Skype picture.
Yeah, and if you could figure out, it's not an Aggie horn. Okay, the Aggies are the little lassie dog. Okay, they have the collie. And
what's that one?
Well, that is the University of Texas.
Oh, okay.
That is also in the state of Texas.
Yeah,
we don't want to talk about
sky. We got Texas.
I don't want to talk about Texas today.
Texas heat. We got
Texas cold and Texas warm and Texas this and Texas that. I'm making Charlie
Texas nap.
I listened back to the last Doomcast and I was like, why is Charlie chastising me about Texas? And I realized I dropped Texas like 5 times in the sentence before. I'm like, oh, that's why he's giving me shit. No wonder.
We're not here then. It's Texas sunset.
This beautiful Texas sunset. So yeah,
all right, brother.
Yeah, well, you ready to roll this thing out? I
don't know. I don't care.
Well,
probably. I mean, there's lots to talk about, but we caught up on the Doom that prevented the normal flow of the Doomcast, and we can.
I mean, we talked about the TSA sucking. I mean, we can get into what's happening in the Ukraine. I'm sure by next week the events that happen in Marpol and it's going to be even more interesting. We can catch up on your keynote from Davos and the political elite preparing to vacate when
absolutely
Ferguson's scaring the crap out of them.
Buying up airstrips, buying up New Zealand farmland, buying up deep underground military bunkers.
Yeah, I mean, you and I mean, we're lucky that we have the keys to the underground cities. That's Otherwise, we would be totally screwed like the rest of everybody.
That's right. Good thing we got the old Texas keychain.
Texas keychain to the underground city that takes you to the Denver airport.
That's right. What else did we not cover?
All the other things we should have probably covered. But, yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the things that I think that, I'm going to be doing with Blacklisted Radio more now that I've got the weekend gig is focusing more on a lot of the other news. And that way that when we come together, we can have this conversation with the Doomers. And, if people want to support the show and inject their thoughts and, definitely get us to talk about topics they're interested in, just support us. Go to doomcast.com/support. It's very easy. The website's very self-evident, self-explanatory, and you can support us in a variety, in a multitude, in a bevy, a plethora of different ways there. And we're going to continue to do it, even if I don't know, even if the stars are not aligned, or maybe they are aligned, and we channel.
Unless I drop dead in Denver, and then I will be out.
Oh well, I'll
I guess find somebody else.
I guess me and Doomer Carla and Craig will just have to do it.
Have to step up. Yeah, have to come out of from behind the scenes and get out here.
We're going to cryogenically freeze your head. That way, when technology catches up, we can bring you back.
For one of the founding Doomers, I'm actually sitting in a position where I'm optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic on my immediate near future. So hopefully next week I have good news to report.
That's good, because I'm usually the optimistic one, and you are very pessimistic. Very doomy.
On reality and life in general, I'm still in the pessimistic camp. But if I can, what I want to be able to do is an hour and a half every night, like we just did here. And right now I'm feeling pretty good, so I can sit here and do this. But I'm hoping there's some kind of solution
without choking and me wondering if you're dying on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. People might not be ready for something that's so passe, without you possibly dying in the background or the.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could keep it going.
Don't worry, people. It could happen. Just
I could go into a spastic seizure right at any moment. So hang tight.
Oh man, how great is that? I mean, that's why people probably tune in. Here we go.
Is he gonna die? Is this gonna die in this one?
Maybe. That's what I wonder. I'm always like, There we go.
My name is Charlie McGrath. My website is wideawakenews.com. My co-founder, friend, is Doug Gold, blacklistnews.com. Visit Doomcast.com. It is the official website of the Doomcast program. We will be back next week with DC 77. Day after the start, 2 days after Super Bowl, 2 or 3 days after.
Yeah.
That I could care less about, by the way.
I could too. Yeah, follow us on Twitter. Doomcast Show is the handle. You can tweet us. You can email us. All that good stuff. We'll be back next week. No doubt about it.
If our intro music sucks, then our outro music must also, therefore, suck.
Oh, it sucks. There's no doubt about that.
We'll be sucking back here next week, Kyle. See you then.
Bye.
Peace out. Thanks, Owen.
All right, brother.
Bye, man.
You too.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Yeah, man.
Bye.
Bye.